really it's all about granting the access. And we know advisors' time is their money. They're away from the office, which takes them maybe away from their business, but they're willing to invest their time with us. We don't pay them to come in certain cases. That can happen at certain events. They're coming on their own volition, which really makes us feel pretty darn good because they're trusting us, right?
Exactly. That's
they're saying,
huge.
I think, we think so too. And, that makes us feel really good about what we're doing because we think we're doing something right.
Wow. Dan Rubinetti and Shannon Rosic, take a seat in the suite. I am so happy to see you guys today. God, fresh off the heels of Nashville. I can't keep up with you both.
Lucky you, Tina. You got a 2 for today.
Okay.
You did. Thank you so much for having us, Tina.
Oh, I'm really excited. You guys, we're going to kick this off. I had to do an episode. So, one of the things that we get asked that intentionally all the time, what events, Tina, should I go to? Where, I want to do this and I want to meet these people. And what are the top 10 events? Edge is a top 10 event. It is coming up June 10th to 12th, 2025. The Boca Raton Resort, which is freaking beautiful, you guys. Absolutely beautiful. Okay. It's coming at a great time of year, June 10th to June 12th, the resort. And so naturally, I want to talk about it. We were fresh off the heels of Future Proof. And I know that Kelly Waltrick, our dear friend, you guys, we're all buds.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like if you're listening to this episode, this is really just this is a love fest of I see Dan and especially Shannon everywhere for years and years and years. And intentionally has a really great relationship with Informa. We love our clients being at your events. We love so much of what you're doing. The Wealth Management Industry Awards, by the way, everybody get your nominations into that. But one of the things that I feel that, and a reason why I wanted to bring you on the show is because you've done some really incredible things with Edge. It is not the same Edge from last year. And I really think as advisors are dealing with this amazing volatility and last week, 2 huge market drops, you really need to be in a peer-to-peer learning environment. And I think Informa, Dan, Shannon, everybody on your team have been the backbone of some really incredible industry conferences where people can kind of come and learn from one another. So I'm going to shut up here because I want to just how do you want to kick this off? Tell us, there's so many new things for Edge this year. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, well, I think you nailed it when you said it's not the same as last year, even the year before, because we take the feedback that we get from all the attendees very seriously. So heck, we even moved venues. We love our Diplomat. But like you said, a whole new venue this year that we're thrilled about. Heck, I haven't even seen it in person yet. So I'm legitimately very excited to experience my own conference just because it just looks stunning. It really just provides a setting that we're very proud of, and we're proud of the caliber of people that will be coming to this event. But Dan, I'll throw it to you if you want, just to kick it off. Give us the 30,000-foot view here of Edge, and then I'll kind of get into some of the fun new initiatives we have this year, and we'll go from there.
Sure. No, thanks, Shannon. And Tina, thanks again for having us. Of course, we're thrilled to be here. I had the good fortune of being on your podcast, I think a year ago when we were at one of the other industry events, and you guys are always such good partners of ours. And we'll talk a little bit about that partnership for Edge, and we'll let Shannon talk a little bit about our CMO think tank. I think one of the things when we came here, so I personally got here almost 4 years ago to help launch Edge. And really, it was a brand in the industry at wealthmanagement.com that just didn't have an advisor-focused event, but we're writing for advisors every day. So one of the initiatives we had, and with our fearless leader of the event business, Michelle Davidson, who she and I came over sort of together and to help launch this. We thought about what would resonate well with the industry, and that would be sort of this third-party, independent, advisor-focused event that can incorporate not just sort of investment strategy for the advisor, but technology for the advisor, and a specific set of content for RIAs and senior level folks from the RIA firms that were managing a lot of money on behalf of their clients. So that was sort of the impetus of starting Edge, and over these past few years, it sort of has steadily grown. And I really think it's all about the content and the speakers that we're able to get, and that model for us has attracted the advisor. So they're trusting the content, they're coming, and with that, we're fortunate that there are firms that want to sponsor and support events like this to get obviously in front of the advisors, but really to create, to your point, Tina, this this very collegial industry event where people, come together and share ideas, listen to great content, talk to our editors, get interviewed, by people like Shannon, who's so well known and liked and respected in the industry, and it's just created this sort of this incredible event that people can really get behind, and I get so many inbound emails of, Dan, I heard about your event, I heard about Edge this year more than ever, and I think it just takes some time to build the reputation, but I've gotten more and more of these. I heard about Edge. Can you tell me more? Why should I be there? And I think, that's everything in the industry is the reputation. And then we partner with firms like you guys and others on the media side that get the word out. And it really has become something special. Not to mention, I have been to the Boca Raton Resort. I did the site visit, and I can promise anyone listening to this show or seeing us, you really got to see this place. It is outstanding. It's one of the greatest venues for an event in the country, and we're thrilled. And again, kudos to Michelle for choosing this resort, because while we did love the dip for the past few years, I think the Boca Raton Resort is even more spectacular in just every aspect. So yeah. I'll kick that to Shannon now, because I know she's got some fun things to share too.
Yeah, I'm hoping, Shannon, I know that you've lined up such an incredible group of speakers. And if I could just add one other thing here. I too have been to the Boca Resort too. I was there for a SIFMA Ops conference years and years ago. It is so classy. And the great thing is that when you come to an industry event, you could spend like a day before or a day after, you're getting that incredible room rate. I have to tell you, you could bring your spouse, you could bring your significant other, you could bring your family, and then make like a couple of days out of it. It really is a breathtaking resort that unfortunately I didn't get a chance to stay there. But at least I went. So yeah. Kudos to Michelle. Hey, Shannon, let's talk about this mighty lineup that you have here too. I mean, one of the things that I think why there's a lot of interest are because of the speakers there. It is stacked.
We are thrilled. And again, it's just a testament to kind of where we sit in the industry and the reputation we've built just off wealthmanagement.com as well, and our incredible editorial staff. It takes a village to program something like this. And I always joke that Edge is the choose your own adventure conference, because if you've ever been, that we kind of have these three tracks, if you will. As Dan mentioned, we have the Wealth Stack track, which is everything that I program. I touch all things tech, as everyone knows at nauseum at this point. we have our investments track, and then we also have our RIA Edge track, which is all the practice management content. So it really truly is an all-encompassing picture of what's happening in the wealth management space, which is why people get so excited to come. You talk to any attendee for events, and they're really just looking for education and networking, right? Those really are the two biggest things that folks are coming for. And then obviously some of the speakers to hear from their peers and colleagues and folks that they admire. year. And this year we're thrilled. We're going to have Michael Kitces and Joe Duran kind of duking it out in a financial feud on stage, and see if we can get some differing opinions out of them. We're even looking to have some economists duke it out a little bit as well, coming from the bull and bear side of things. It seems especially relevant considering everything that's happening right now. Hope everyone has strapped in for that. We have the tech demos are back with live judging again. So we've already completely sold out of the demos. So tech is absolutely on fire. We'll be leading tech tours again. I'll actually be one of the guides this year, a couple of their fellow colleagues. Those resonated really well last year. And it was a lot of fun just to see attendees kind of self-opt-in to learn about all the technology players that we're going to have. We had over 40 last year, and we're on pace to do that again, if not more this year in terms of tech vendors that'll be on site. So we can't wait to see all of those demos. We have folks like Marwa Zakaria, Oleg Tishkevich that are going to be taking the stage, talking tech, and everything there. We'll have Davis Janowski, who I adore.
Oh God,
He's
one of the most talented technology reporters, everybody. If you're not following Davis Janowski, well, first of all, you should be connected to Shannon, Dan, and Davis all on LinkedIn for sure. You should really be following Davis's thought leadership. It is incredible. We'll also put a link in the show notes. We'll put a link. Shannon's podcast also too is really on fire, guys. These are one of the things that I think that you're gifted at, Shannon, is really getting to the heart of the why. It's not just like, hey, it's really how do these things serve advisors, that I think has been the deep domain experience that Informa brings. Like, okay, well, tell us why this is important for advisors. So yeah, I didn't mean I lit up when I hear names like Davis. And one other thing I want to compliment you guys on, little known fact here, right? T3 took a little page out of your playbook and did some tech tours this year.
Make notes, but you know what? It's flattery, if anything, right?
Exactly. So when I knew, I heard, or I had just had to mention that, yes, they were an amazing things that Edge that you guys brainchild for Edge last time, and it really worked and it had a lot of staying power. Who's the keynote? I know that there's some really cool. Oh, that's such a hard decision when you're planning an event too. Like the fact to get really great keynotes is hard. People don't realize it.
And that is one of the hardest aspects of programming, because you can really go in any direction. And so generally it's myself, Dan, and Michelle kind of sit down and brainstorm and have huddles and think about, what's going to resonate with folks right now. And I will admit this may have been a bit of a selfish play on my end. Not that I'm a massive Chiefs fan or anything, but we are so excited to be able to welcome Alex Smith to the stage, former first-round draft pick back in 2005. When he went to the 49ers. And then I became a Chiefs fan actually during his era when he came over and was quarterback for us. And he just completely turned that organization around. So I will be interviewing him, and I'm going to do my best to not fangirl all over that stage and keep it as professional as possible. But we're so excited. He just has an incredible story too of resilience. If you're not familiar with it, he suffered basically a career-ending injury that almost killed him. And he was able to come back from that and still play. And now he has an incredible podcast called The Glue Guys. I highly recommend checking that out with Shane Battier and Ravi Gupta. And they talk about sports and business and the intersection of that. So he is thriving off the field as well now. So I couldn't be more thrilled that I get to actually sit down and pick his brain for a little bit.
Oh my God. Congratulations for that. That again, the story of resilience, the whole peer-to-peer learning, all of that. Another feature, which is reason why we wanted to have Dan Rubinetti here in the suite, is that, look, we love women's empowerment. And in the beginning in the suite, the first year, I made a big faux pas, and I only mostly had women on the show, which wasn't like a bad thing. I just felt like women weren't getting attention, right? But there are
That's
such
right.
amazing men, and Brian Hamburger and I had an arm wrestle. He's like, "Hey, how come no dudes on the show?" And I was like, "Well, because we need to we need to hear more women's voices." But I was like, "I'm hearing you, Brian. We'll make sure that we have more of our male ambassadors, sponsors." Dan, you've been a friend. You've been a friend to so many. Shannon, myself, I can list a million people. Suzanne Syracuse also too up there. But let's talk about the Female Advisor Network. You're doing something, again, really intriguing at Edge. And a lot of us come to these events as single people, right? Ladies listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You're signed up
Right.
for an event. It's like, who's going for my firm? Nobody, because like the firm could only afford to send one person. These female events for me personally, and I just went to the Schwab one at Future Proof, have tethered me to like the most amazing people at my table, and just I never feel alone when I go to an Edge conference or conference or somewhere they've made a meaningful effort for women to be with one another, which is another reason why I wanted to have you on the show. So Dan, could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Happy to. Before I joined wealthmanagement.com, I spent a number of years at Investment News with Suzanne Syracuse, and Suzanne actually hired me um, a few years ago, and she had come up with sort of this Women Advisor Summit concept where we did female advisor events around the country, various cities, very successful, highly engaged audience, and when we all sort of departed from IN. Nothing was really happening for the female advisors of substance. I mean, there are some things out there, of course, but I thought, well, why don't we just kind of take this concept and bring it over to Edge, and let's try something with a partner. In this case, it was Schwab and that team who I did work with at Investment News and at RIA Edge Los Angeles, which is coming up in October of 2025. But last year, in its second year, Shannon and I sat down with Michelle and said, well, I did this thing with the women advisors at IN, and I think there's something here. Let's create something. Let's try this, and let's have a breakfast. And at that breakfast, let's invite through our VIP team female advisors, and we're not going to ignore the men, and they would be welcome, but we really wanted to focus in on the female advisors. So we created a breakfast, and with that, Schwab sponsored it. Our friend Leslie Tabor and her team were willing to do that. And they just had a great morning session together in this sort of very informal roundtable environment to discuss some of the initiatives going on with female advisors. And then we took some of that content that was learned there and the next day presented it on stage, the findings. And it went so well that we replicated it again at Nashville last week. And this time we had Russell Reynolds and Nationwide sponsor that. Similar concept. Suzanne hosted. Shannon participated. We all sort of participated. Not so much me, but I was there and listened. And highly successful. And then following that, we did a session the next day on the findings. So it's female advisor breakfast. It's fab. It's fabulous. I will take credit for that one. I'm pretty good sometimes with the names, but shameless plug. But I think it's starting to really catch fire, and we're going to do it again in June in Boca, and probably again in Los Angeles at RIA Edge West in LA. So that is one of the things that we're always trying to come up with, the next engaging opportunity for the industry, for sponsors, for our speakers. And there's more coming. Just there's only so many days we have at these events, and we have to be conscious of that. But yeah, thanks for asking about that, because we are pretty excited about where that can take us.
Another theme that the industry seems to be addressing head on is the idea of next gen. I just actually finished a mentor session with a marketing candidate who wants to be in financial services marketing. So we sat down and And, we looked at her resume. We had a discussion with her, and I gave her some really great advice that I think that I'm going to put in a LinkedIn post. And I can't wait till the day that she, finally gets a job offer. But one of the things that the industry has had a pulse on, especially Informa and Edge, has been this idea of next gen, right? We're not only saying like, hey, we've got a massive problem. We need more people, more young people in this industry, but you're providing a real gateway here for people to do it. So I'd love for you to talk about it. It's one of the things that I get a real kick out of is like meeting people, especially at food trucks. I don't know what it is, like with events and food trucks, like young people just line up for like tater tot fries. Like it just happens. So, you guys have put a lot of thought and into attention to next gen. So tell us what you're doing with Edge there again. And if you're an employer that's listening, if you're a financial advisor, if you're an RIA, please do me a favor and this is an incredible opportunity to really invest in the people who are helping your firm grow. So, keen ears on what Shannon is about to share with us on Edge. And if you can, make sure that your next gen team's going.
And that's, you nailed it, Tina. That's exactly what we're trying to do is just encourage firms to grow that next generation, those G2, G3 leaders. And so this was something we actually started last year at Edge. We actually designated an ambassador. So Aravind Sithamparapillai is coming back again as our ambassador. If you haven't seen him, check him out online. He's all over socials. He's a very vocal advisor, young, up and coming, knows his stuff, is super passionate about what he does, loves his clients. It comes through in everything that he does. So he will be our ambassador again. Look for him on site. We're talking about maybe getting him a sash, so he's going to look like a prom king or something, but he's in it's fine.
I love that.
But we've been very, just specific when it comes to the content that we want to provide these folks. So we are actually going to do a Michael Kitces Ask Me Anything or Ask Us Anything session. So folks will be able to actually sit down in the room with Michael and ask those awkward questions, ask those hard questions that maybe they're not getting the answers to, from other folks or other resources that they have. So we're very excited about that. We will have mentor-mentee speed dating. If you'd like to be a mentor, please let me know. Hit me up, DM me, whatever it takes. We're always looking for mentors for this next generation. Basically what that is, exactly as it sounds, a speed dating style where next gen advisors can come meet peers from their industry. So think the Karina Diamonds of the world will be mentors. And you can just chat with these folks at a dedicated time during the conference and have a special meetup area for that. So we'll have that going on. And we are actually also partnering with the FinServe Foundation. So those of you familiar with Jamie Hopkins and Kate Healy and everything that they're doing over at the FinServe Foundation, they're going to be bringing, I think, around 20 students or so to Edge, which I just think is an incredible opportunity. Every time I see students on site an event, I say, man, I wish I had a program like that, or just accessibility to opportunities like that when I was coming up in college, because heck, I graduated, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so to see these 19, 20, 21-year-olds come and already have a vision for what they want and are comfortable just getting in front of folks and talking to peers, like that, to me, that always touches me, because I didn't have those opportunities. So we're trying to create those as much as possible while on site. So it's certainly grown from last year. And again, just, if you are a next gen advisor and you come, you have full access to the conference, all of the sessions, all of the receptions, everything like that. Again, choose your own adventure, but you have access to any and all of it.
I want to give a big shout out. Thank you for bringing up Jamie Hopkins and Kate Healy from FinServe Foundation, and then for doing the FinServe mentorship program, which I'm happy involved in. I saw Samantha Allen was also added to the roster lately for that. So I know that she's organizing the next meetup. And I want to give a shout out to my mentee, Bethany Blair, who's recently landed an opportunity at Goldman Sachs. So I really much believe that in the power of mentoring. Just a little bit goes a long way. So that's an incredible organization. Another thing that I saw that Edge was doing differently this year, which really excited me, were these idea of number one, the allocate meetings, and as well as the roundtables. I think that Informa is like, you guys are infamous for bringing, like, always having roundtables and bringing people together. I really love that. Dan, I think it speaks to one of the things you were talking about when Suzanne Syracuse years and years and years ago. If Shannon and I kind of rewind the tape, when we were in New York City at Investment News, Women to Watch and women events, I noticed you were always sitting at a round table so that you're able to meet people. And then I remember, and I know that you even have the roundtables as part of the Wealthy. So you're, fostering peer-to-peer learning environments where people can be together. So talk a little bit about roundtables and allocate meetings again, because inquiring minds want to know.
That's a great point. And it's a little strategy in the event business. If you put a round table together with people, they will talk to one another, right? Instead of sitting classroom style when you're next to somebody, it's like a dinner table when that conversation just becomes very natural and flowing. The meetings are something we're really leaning into even more and more here. And one of the things I think our team does exceptionally well, and I don't know if the rest of the industry does it, and we know how important meetings are, making those connections, and we certainly want to lean into that. But we have a VIP program led by Steve Titchener, and his colleague Kayla Molnar, and the VIP team is responsible for recruiting these advisors to come to the event. And they have, over the past few years, been able to almost concierge the invite through LinkedIn and other methods to get folks to attend the event. And they've become sort of this trusted part of what we do, and has really changed, I think, the face of how events are run. Now, I'm saying this because I know someone's going to take this idea from us and probably also try to replicate it, but it is not easy to do. So we do welcome that challenge, but this is something that Informa does very, very good, in that we're able to make the connection, earn the trust of, say, the advisor to come to the event. Once they are here, we are able to do fun things with them, like VIP dinners for sponsors, where a sponsor can host 10 of these VIPs and have time with them over a 2-hour meal at one of our beautiful restaurants on site at Boca or at the Dip or wherever we had done the event. You have the ability to engage through our app. It's a double opt-in. So if I send a note to you, Tina, would you like to meet me and you say, yes, I would, we're double opted in. We will be placed at a location at a time. So we can have that interaction. The allocates are interesting because now we're going to bring an AI component in, where the advisor can list some of the things that they're interested in, along with, say, a sponsor, what they're interested in, and then through a matching system that can create a meeting as well. So we're really leaning in here through our VIP team, through our meetings programs, to be sort of that difference maker, where we're giving everyone sort of that full value. Because let's face it, they're here to meet. The reason we do the event is really to foster the engagement. And with all those components, we think that formula will continue to bear fruit for us.
And at that price, you got advisors listening here, sponsors listening here to this broadcast. The rate for that advisor plus, which gives you access to those meetings, you guys, it's $399. That is an incredible. That is a credible value proposition right there. And then also, too, for anyone that's signing up for groups of 4 people, I know that Informa is offering a generous discount of 20% here. There's also, too, a startup rate. There's a product and service provider rate. Sponsoring can be at all different levels and stuff. So really a wonderful opportunity here if you're listening.
Yeah, we try to give a little bit. Really, it's all about granting the access. And we know advisors' time is their money. They're away from the office, which takes them maybe away from their business, but they're willing to invest their time with us. we don't pay them to come in certain cases. That can happen at certain events. They're coming on their own volition, which really makes us feel pretty darn good because
Yes,
they're trusting us, right?
exactly.
They're
That's
saying,
huge. That
I
part.
think, yeah, we think so too, and
Yeah.
that makes us feel really good about what we're doing because we think we're doing something right. And when you have those kinds of folks attending, people managing, you know, billions of dollars and trillions of dollars and highest levels of advisors, the sponsors love this, and it's interesting because the sponsors who are coming to us this year, there are so many new sponsors. There are folks like the Goldmans of the world, right? And folks like Crane Shares and Northern Trust and SEI and Invent. And we're grateful for all of them. But our three charter partners are all three brand new sponsors paying, making a large investment to be there. T+3 Fund, the gentleman who created 5 Hour Energy drinks, has a hedge fund. They're a charter partner. They'll be doing a keynote, and they're bringing 5 Hour Energy, which we're all going to need. But
Gonna be so cool.
kind of interesting, right? Monroe Capital, an alternative investment company, charter partner, Dispatch, all three are new to our world. So think about their marketing team and the value they see in our event to be the top sponsors. That to us is sort of incredible what we've built, along with the All Springs of the world, new. Alpha Financial Markets Consulting, new. Our friends at RFG, who we know well. SEI comes back. Orion is here. Blackstone, Sanctuary and Wealthspire, Cohen and Steers, FP Transitions, Mercer, Marsh, Nuveen, Van Eck, Pac Life. They're coming from all walks, annuity firms, crypto, Grayscale will be there. Alternative investments, our ETF issuers. It's like amazing. We're like thrilled. We're running out of room in the hall. So we're very happy with this.
Can we talk a little bit about the content strategy here for advisors? Because Shannon, and thanks for all of that information. I think one of the things we're grateful for our sponsors. I want to cover two more things in the time that we have left. I want to cover some content ideas for financial advisors because Shannon, when I see you at Edge events and I see you at Informa events, and at events that are even non-Informa events, i.e. other people's, right? Future proofs, T3s, like you're always like you're recording video and you're recording podcasts. So I wanted to talk a little bit for advisors who are going to Edge, maybe some ideas that they could leverage their presence at Edge. And the last thing I want to talk about is the CMO roundtable, which I know that, our company's doing as well. So, content strategy is something that advisors really struggle with. And I think it's one of the best things that your clients want to see that you're doing is professional and continuing development. So Shannon, what would be your advice to some of those advisors if they want to take advantage of content opportunities, whether or not through Informa, at Edge or elsewhere? I know there's a lot of opportunities under your roof and that you're really skilled and really great at.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I will say the content is by far the most challenging part because you don't want to necessarily be everything to everyone. You want to focus a little bit. So like I said, my main area of focus is tech, but Michelle and I are always going back and forth for ideas on all of the tracks. But for advisors looking to kind of plan out how they want to go about their days, attend those sessions that are helping you solve a business challenge. So if you have questions about AI, we have an entire AI assembly track that digs into everything from the back office to use cases that your peers are using now. We have Jason Pereira and Brian Portnoy doing a whole thing on augmented humanity and the role of AI there. So if you're looking to dip your toes with AI, you want to understand what your peers are doing, tons of content around that. So we obviously try to be very timely in that sense. There will be content around the current market environment. So folks looking to understand how to have those conversations with clients, the implications, things like that, just practical takeaways. So I say start there. If you have a specific a challenge that you're facing, even if it's M&A or succession planning, we have a lot of content around that as well. Growing your firm. The overarching theme this year is all about growth, particularly organic growth. We've seen the numbers, hovering around 2-3%, but a lot of the firms attending are doing way better than that. And they are more than willing to kind of share what's working. And that's what we love too about this audience, is that everyone is approachable, right? So if you want to go talk, to the CEO of Sanctuary or or Mercer, like Kaylin Mayhew will be there from Merit. If you want to go up to them, all these folks are accessible. And that's what I love about this. Even though it's a large event, closing in around 2,000 folks for this, it doesn't feel like this overwhelming, monstrosity, and that you can't get to everything that you want to get to. Just be intentional, right? What are you trying to accomplish? Structured, if you want to have those meetings, attend those sessions that make most sense to help your business. Make the most of your time. Don't feel like you just have to kind of wander in and out. Like, be intentional about it, and that hence intentionally. But just there's a rhyme and reason to that. It's I rarely do I ever get to go to events and just attend, because like you said, I'm usually running around with a camera or microphone or speaking or doing something. So those moments that I actually do get to just sit in and listen, there's a reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Like, I appreciate those times, and that's what folks are coming here to do as well. So make the most of it, have a little fun. We have tons of opportunities for that. We have a golf tournament where we have Tim Welsh is sponsoring kayaking with Davis Shanowski. So our
That is so good, you guys. That is so
we
good.
have a lot. Like,
Having such FOMO right now. I wanna-
work hard, play hard.
That's so great. That's so great. That is amazing. Kelly and Joe. So Kelly Waldrick, who obviously you guys know very well. The industry knows very well. Look, if you're listening and you haven't turned on a podcast in a couple of years, Kelly Waldrick's our CEO and founder, and she'll be there with Joe Stoiter, who is our chief of communications. He's also a partner here at Intentionally. So I'm really excited. Joe just did the CMO collective. It's really like, Kelly has amazing ideas. It's wonderful to be in a learning opportunity like this. The CMO collective is coming back. We've got a lot of questions. I'm here to say, yes, it will be in Boca. The other thing I will say is, don't do what other people did at Future Proof, and do not wait until the last minute to sign up for the CMO collective, because it gets booked and it gets filled. There's a certain amount of, one of the things I think Informa is really good at from an event coordination and organization perspective is making sure that, hey, you're in the right environment. It feels like the right group of people. It's not too much. It's not too little. It's like, so, right. What else would you guys say about it? Is the venue for that? Again, you can't go wrong anywhere in Boca here.
No.
Right?
No, and it is a primary part of what we're doing here. We're thrilled to be able to do this collective with you guys, and we know it's going to be amazing content. For those marketers in our industry, a must attend. So yeah, don't hesitate. Sign up. Let's get you there. I can promise you it'll be a fantastic session. Especially having Kelly and Joe involved, and all you and you guys, and with Shannon. So we know it works. It's just, make sure you sign up and be a part of it.
Kelly came to me with this idea last year, and we really piloted it at RIAs LA, and we had to like blow the doors off the room because it was so packed. And you realize when you create initiatives like this that there is such a need for that dedicated time and space to have those like-minded peers be able to sit together and discuss the challenges that they're facing. So we're like, we'll get maybe 12 folks or so. I think we ended up with like 28 or something in the room in LA. And so we looked at each other and said, oh boy, I think we have something here. So we are just thrilled to bring it back to Edge and make it even bigger and better. Just for some context, we are bringing together CMOs from billion-dollar plus RIAs to talk about really what's keeping them up at night, the challenges they're facing as marketers in today's environment. And Kelly and Joe do a phenomenal job of facilitating that conversation and encouraging everyone to kind of break it down and just have that peer-to-peer sharing, and bounce ideas off of each other. So we'll be doing that again. Invites are going out now. If you are interested, you are a CMO or a marketer at a firm like that, let us know. We would love to have you, because we will be dedicating that time and space, like I said, again, at Edge to do this. And it's fun. It's usually like a big U shape, and everyone jumps in and just talks. I mean, you don't have to worry about marketers and not talking. So I will say the one nice thing, there's no shortage of content or conversation flow.
That's absolutely correct. What's the best way? Because again, we got a lot of people listening right now that want to take action on that. So what's the best way to contact you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. You're more than welcome to reach out to me, to Shannon Rosic on LinkedIn. You can slide into the DMs there. You'll probably be hearing from Steve Titchener, who we mentioned before, part of our VIP team. He's going out with invites. So if you want to hit myself up or Steve up, it's shannon.rosic@informa.com, if you want to just reach me directly. So yeah, we would love to have you.
Great. We're so excited. We feel very honored and privileged to be here. So thank you again for giving intentionally the opportunity. Yes, part of marketing is very R&D and very experimental. We don't know if things are going to work. And so this was a good case of things working a little bit too well. But this year, we're really prepared for it. And I would say, you will walk out of that session with ideas and with new connections, so that when problems come up, and we see things all the time right now, I would say the big themes that are leading the conversation are this huge amounts of market volatility. Clients are very nervous, how advisors go and communicate. I'm really glad that you had mentioned Brian Portnoy and Jason Pereira, who will have absolute strategies, ways to connect. They're two amazing human beings on the planet as well, too. Again, from gathering from this conversation, you have assembled a group who's not only supreme in their deep domain experience and their intelligence, but people who really want to help others, who aren't going to stockpot, who are going to be, free flowing with all of their knowledge. So kudos to you. There's one other question that I forgot to mention, you guys, because this is in the Sweet Pod. This is the third season, and I know a little bit about both of you guys outside of work. But one of the things that we also love, a great environment like Boca, is what are some of the things that you're doing health wise that, if you could give us a health tip. Right. That's the question for season 3 in the suite, is give us a health tip, something that you do that's a ritual, some sort of practice at home or maybe at work to help benefit other people. We are all stressed out right now because of this market volatility. And we'll talk about it at Edge. There'll be some great office hours over there. But what are the last tips that you want to give us on the side about managing our own health and mindset?
Yeah, I'm happy to share. I always talk about what are the things you can do to just, we all work really, really hard in a condensed amount of time. And then you got to have that time away to de-stress, to do some of the things you like to do, to keep your sanity. So I'm going to weave this one in because Shannon, I think, might know where we're going here, but there is an element of fun to our events as well, right? And we want to provide the kayaking, the yoga, the things that we can. There's a golf outing that we're grateful Motley Fool is sponsoring for advisors. One of the things I do to keep my stress levels low is, play music. And I've been part of a band for 15 years that the industry doesn't really know much about. I don't share it. Shannon is aware of it, but if you stick around at the event till the closing night party, my band from New Jersey is flying in to play the closing night party. And I can promise you'll have a good time with that. and it will be sponsored by Oleg at Invent, and he's thrilled and he loves a party. So we're going to deliver the goods on Thursday night, the closing night reception.
Lean in,
Wow. Oh my God.
coming full circle.
I
There you
can't
go.
believe he dropped that. That is a knowledge bomb. Wow.
That's in the suite. That's for you,
Oh
Tina.
my God. Okay. Breaking news here in the suite.
Yep.
You heard it first. Shannon,
know
what
how-
about you? I know you're
My
doing
horse is on stage. I'm like, I don't know how to top that. I've thought about it. I'm like, how do I ride in on one of them?
We're going to bring Shannon will be a part of this performance. So there you go.
Yes. Yeah. Warning. That needs like a warning label more than anything. But no, I mean, I completely agree. It's, leaning in, we all work hard, but it's lean into the things that you also love outside of it. But even beyond that, I love Mel Robbins. I read all of her books, all of her podcasts. If you haven't checked her out, I've gotten really into her stuff the last year, and I've gotten so much out of just the small things. Anyone that knows me knows I have a very hard time sitting still. So to me, relaxing is constantly doing something. It's never sitting still. But I've learned to appreciate in the morning just the small things. It's from the moment you pop out of bed, she recommends just to set the tone for your day outside of doing things like chugging a bunch of water to rehydrate. I know this sounds so silly, but it's just helps me get in the right mindset every morning. It's while you're getting ready, high five yourself in the mirror. Like, heck yeah, we're going to have a good day. And it really just sets the tone because, again, I'm someone who's not a morning person, so I'm usually not the nicest if it's before, I don't know, 10 a.m. So just having something small like that and just, your reflection smiling back at you, just saying, all right, today might be crazy, but we've got this. Like, here we go. I think it's just appreciating small things. You don't have to have crazy hobbies like Dan and I, where you're traveling or a traveling band or riding horses and constantly putting yourself in danger. But just taking it back to the small things and just having those small moments of gratitude, especially in an environment like this where everyone's heightened, everyone's stressed, there's a lot more questions than answers. Just be sure to show yourself grace. I think that's the biggest thing too. There's a lot of things that we can't control, but you know what? You can control your attitude, which is why I just love that quick little high five in the morning just to kind of set the tone for the day.
a lot of high fives over at Edge. You guys have been amazing guests. Thank you so much for helping to decipher what's new this year. And again, I think the big takeaway for advisors is like one of the two strategies that you just recommended, like give yourself a trip here to Edge. I think it'll do a lot for your mindset and business. You'll find a lot of people to high fives at those roundtables and meetings, and you'll really leave feeling, empowered and inspired like we all do when we leave an Informa an Edge event. So thank you both so much. It's great
Thanks,
to see you.
Tina. We
Looking
appreciate
forward
it.
to
Hey, can
seeing you.
I say one thing? Because I
Sure.
really, I've known you for a number of years. I knew Kelly before she started intentionally when she was in the industry. She was a client of mine, as was Joe in his former job. And, we talk about the friends in the industry and the relationships we make. I couldn't be more happy to see what Kelly has built and what you guys are doing in the industry. I don't know how fast that someone could do this, but I know it looks fast and it wasn't. But I'm blown away by the things you guys have done. Your 95th podcast, Kelly building a business with people who are like all stars from the industry, which is something Shannon and I talk about when we bring people to Informa into our group. We've sort of handpicked them too. We get that, and so I just personally wanted to say congratulations to what you guys have done and continue to do, and to thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about what we do, and we really do appreciate that.
Thank you. I'll extend that again. The biggest shout out to Kelly Waldrick, who started this company, who had exactly what you're describing right there, Dan, is Kelly's vision. And I knew that she had a superpower for building large, high performance teams. I saw it over at Orion when I came to her Conshohocken office when she was in Orion, when she came up.
That's when I met her.
Exactly. I walk in and there's like 40, 50 people there. Like there's this buffet line. And now, mind you, I had been to the Googleplex years and years ago through one of my first jobs. I was like, they sent me to search engine strategies in Mountain View, California, and I got to go to Google. And it was like, whoa. So
Wow.
I am pretty jaded here, right? Um, when I walked in and what she was describing reminded me very much of that ethos and that culture that, a lot of us want to belong to. And so I really give her the credit.
Yeah.
She's fearless, but with a heart,
Yeah.
the heart and a wanting to give back because, she recognizes the opportunities that she's been given. And it's incredible to see the internal transformations, not just from brands and clients. Like that's all good. We love you. We love you. We love you. But to see more from the people perspective, when you create an amazing firm and culture, the way that Kelly has done, and when you see different people and how they start the position and
Right.
where they are like 6 months from now, 9 months from
Incredible.
now, like you really do a lot for humanity. Like that part's a gift. So we
Yes.
so appreciated, and we're surrounded by a lot of like partners like Informa over there. And I feel like we're all, and I think Kelly would say this too, like we're all on the same team, just really doing great work. And the other thing is she's been very intentional. It was a word that Shannon mentioned, many times, really, really giving intentional thought to what you're creating and why you're creating it. And I think Edge is a perfect example. You've really sat there and done the work.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. If all things were possible, and you're not afraid to point your finger at yourselves and say, hey, well, this thing worked, but maybe like next year we'll pass and we'll weave in some fresh and new ideas. I think
Yeah.
I don't mean to be so long-winded here, but one of the other things I think the industry has got to, your mindset has got to be on the right frequency to begin with. And
Mhm.
Kelly came with that high five mindset that Shannon was
Yeah.
talking about. Like, and we're team relentless. We yesterday we were trying to
Yes.
get the coffee machine, the grinder thing wasn't working at the top. We're like, we're gonna get this thing to work. Just be relentless in throwing action at things, which we've all done. So you guys are a collection of great people and great human beings. For all the people, let us know that you're coming to Edge. Continue to make it a part of your conference circuit. Don't miss it. Don't miss it this year in Boca, guys. We'll have the links in the show notes. Thank you all so much.
So much, Tina.
See you soon.